Alright, everyone, this is your boy Fernie back doing another interview here, this time at Pioneer Village, right smack in the middle, here in Gonzales, Texas. We're basically on a porch right now, rocking on some rocking chairs from the Gates house. And with me, I have two members of the Spectre team. You've seen them before, you've heard them before on some of the other interviews. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. I have next to me, I have both Virginia and Josie. Hello, hello.
Hello. Can you even hear us from way over there?
Oh, yeah. Like it'll come up. Probably a little bit faint, but
A little. Can you hear me?
that's much better. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we were just talking about shadow people. And the reason why I wanted to do this new Q&A slash podcast interview is because both of them have really good experiences to share at their residences. So it'll be a great time if you wanted to sit back, relax. You'll get to hear yet another story of the infamous shadow people. So if you want, Josie, you were just mentioning right now about something happening. You've seen it at your residence.
Yes.
Can you let us know what happened, what it was?
One time I was right there between the hall and the bathroom. We saw like a shadow, something move. And there's been an experience where we've had stuff like they knock it off. Like one time my in-laws were sitting at the table and I was standing by the stove and there was an ashtray on the kitchen sink and it just, like someone just slammed it off, landed right straight on the floor. And that's because it wasn't at the edge. And then we had like right after we saw that shadow that I heard some noises. I go to my room and as soon as I walk in, I have a container where I have candies in, and it was on my table, on my side of the bed, and they just like slapped it off into the floor.
Wow.
And one night I was laying in bed. My husband went to work, and I was laying there, and I felt like someone beside me. I could feel it. I could feel they were right there, and when I had my eyes closed. I wasn't asleep. When I opened my eyes, right there along by his gaming area, there was like something standing there watching me. It was like just so weird. And I'm like, whoever's in here, just leave. I want to go to sleep. Leave me alone. And
It's like that. How you said with was it your mother-in-law? That was sitting up.
Yes.
Looking at certain she was just sitting on the bed,
she was sitting
looking
on
to
the
the left.
Yeah, she was sitting on the bed with her neck turned to the left, like looking toward out her door. And I'm like, why is she up? It was late at night. They had already went to bed. So I go back over there, go toward the room, and she's sound asleep. It was weird. It was like she was just sitting up.
Oh, I thought you said you seen somebody,
someone sitting
there.
Yes, someone was sitting there.
But
and
it wasn't.
I thought it was her.
But it wasn't her, right?
It was dark. No, it wasn't her. I went to go look in their room, and they were both sound asleep.
Wow.
Because right there by the heater, we have some Christmas lights because for my father-in-law, so he can see to go to the restroom. So a little bit shines in their room.
So this happened at your current residence?
Yes.
How long have you been there now?
Going on 15 years I've been with my husband, so yeah.
Do you know any history as to why something could be there?
Well, we're not sure. My mother-in-law thinks it's her grandpa that's there.
We should actually go and do.
I would like to because they mess with my cat sometimes.
Oh yeah,
my
tell about
creeped out.
Tell about your experience about the cat. Yeah.
Yes, like that one time, my black and white cat COVID. He was walking by and all of a sudden he just started creeping. All his hair standing back. He was creeping backwards from the hallway to the bathroom, like I said there where I saw the shadow. And then all of a sudden it's like I guess they tried to touch him and he jumped so far back. So then my other cat, Jaeger, he comes walking and he looks that way. And I guess he saw something because then he started creeping and his hairs were all standing up. And my cousin was freaking out. She got scared. And she goes, why are they doing that? And we're like, because there's someone there. So my in-laws came out and started telling her, stories about, we see people, hear noises.
And it's so crazy how you're just so used to it. It's natural.
Yes, we're used to it. And it all started when I first moved in. Check this out.
I think it's a spirit that's following her.
Oh, really?
My mother-in-law And my father-in-law went to work. My husband went to work. I was there by myself. I had just moved in. And they had a phone, because they used to have a house phone. And they had it on top of the table. Well, the phone rang. And I answered it. And I go, hello? And they're like, yeah, I was wondering if I could speak to, my mother-in-law. I go, they're not here. They're at work. She goes, I was just calling to check to see how everybody's doing. I said, okay, well, I'm George's girlfriend. And I'll tell her to call you back. She goes, no, you don't have to. Just tell her that her, was it her mom, I think it was, looked in on them. So whenever they get home, I said, well, the phone rang, and I answered it. It was your mom, and she was checking in on y'all. She goes, phone? We don't have a phone. I go, yeah, I picked it up. It rang. And she goes, look. We even hooked up to the wall. It was like crazy. They looked at me like, and then that's when she said, yeah, we hear stuff here. And
wow.
That one time my husband stayed by himself. He never believed in it. Never. He's like, oh, y'all just crazy and this and that. Well, that day we went to the game room. He stayed by himself. And he goes, I heard the front door open. He goes, I heard the footsteps down the hall. So I'm like, okay, my baby's home already. And he waited and waited, but I never went in there. And when he opened the door, there wasn't nobody there. And
wow.
At that time, we didn't even have cats and dogs. And then he goes, I went to my room and I just sat there and I started thinking and thinking. And he goes, it was so weird. He goes, yeah. He goes, now he believes a little bit of stuff being in the house because he's starting to hear stuff. But
so you think it might be the grandfather?
that's what we're thinking. It might be the grandpa.
Or it might be somebody that...
back in the days. And he had in the back little house, he had his little area there. So we're thinking that's what it is, but we're not too certain.
Or it might be you said something that followed you?
That's what she thinks. But, honestly, something's always followed me.
Exactly, because...
And I went to the church, and the priest told me that there's something with me. And you know what's crazy? It does the same thing to my daughter, Mariana.
Wow.
And as I always said, something's always followed me.
Whenever her daughter was little, after her daughter's father passed away...
Yes.
And they were living in, what house were you at? Whatever house they were living in at the time. She said that she walked in on her daughter, and her daughter, how old was Mari?
Mari, man, she was like three,
four.
Mm-hmm.
And she was over there in the corner by the closet.
Mm-hmm.
She was just sitting there talking. She was like, who are you talking to? You playing? She's like, oh, I'm talking to Daddy.
And she didn't know her dad because her dad died when she was a year and a half. He died November of 95, and she was about to turn 2 December 10th of 95.
Wow.
So she never knew her daddy. But the first time when I met my mom, I went to handcum her. I was laying in bed. I was pregnant with my second son, and I had Mariana beside me in bed. And I had my hands, and I felt something cold. I felt something like touch my hand. And I'm like, and it felt, just this side was cold, like they were beside me. And I didn't know what it was. And at first I thought maybe it was my mom's house haunted. But then again, to me, it was her daughter's father because he had passed away. And then they called me the next day and told me, did you know that he had passed away? And I'm like, no. And I go, that was him. I know that was him beside me. I felt it.
And the only other question then on those shadow people, if you said you saw them, like what did they look like? Just a black mask?
Just a black thing, like something moves. It's black.
It's like, to me, it looks just like a person.
Yes, it looks like a person.
It looks like a person walking, but it's just so dark. All you see is just like their, what's that word called? Like they've been doing on TikTok with the...
Silhouette?
Silhouette.
Okay.
The silhouette of a person, but it's just a black figure type. Like when I live out on a ranch, in Fannin actually, battleground area. So, that's like pretty much, where's that, was it, Colonel Fannin and them fought whatever. So, I was a teenager at the time. My mom had made herself a little shed type thing where she would sleep in, away from the house that she had built for her mother. And I would say it's about maybe 200 feet away from the main house. And I was walking over there, and mind you, it's super dark, kind of like the way it is out here.
Right now, yeah.
Yes.
And all we had was that one pole light, like the way you see it over there. So I'm walking from the main house over to my mom's little shack, whatever, and halfway in between, there's a faucet that her boyfriend used to wash up at all the time. And I seen the shadow of a person, a male, because he was tall, like my mom's boyfriend. Well, at the time he was tall. Now he's all short because I'm, grown up. Well, I mean, he passed away already, but anyways.
So
I seen the shadow and I'm like, hey, what are you doing over there? I thought you did all that earlier. Shouldn't you be laying down already? It's already late. And I'm over here talking to this person like normal. And so I'm just walking, minding my own business, like, okay, whatever. And then it started walking like with me, but
Wait, this is at night?
yeah, this was at night.
Okay.
And it started walking like with me, but I wasn't really paying attention of it coming towards me, like, my mom's boyfriend walking to the room. So I get to the room and I'm like walking in and I like totally stop, and my mom's like, are you okay, daughter? You look like you've seen a ghost. And I'm looking at her and her boyfriend's sitting with her right on the bed next to her. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I like just totally ran up to them and I jumped on the bed. I was like, oh my God, somebody's outside. And they're like, so he got off the bed, he hopped off the bed, got his gun, and he went walking around, but he didn't see anything. And, it's funny because I, at the time, didn't even think to listen to leaves rustling whenever you walk, because at that time, I want to say it was autumn, so all the leaves were falling. So when I was walking, I was making noise going over to my mom's room, but I can't really say I remember hearing the leaves rustling when that shadow person was walking,
And
so it was just crazy. He came back in, he was like, nobody's out there. I was like,
Did
I
you-
know what I saw.
did y'all hear that?
No.
I heard a kid scream.
Yeah.
We've
Oh, you
seen,
heard a kid scream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a kid scream.
we've seen stuff at that ranch, like that little boy that I saw through the window, and there wasn't nobody there. All the kids were over there playing.
My mom's
We've
seen,
heard stuff there at the ranch.
my mom's seen a male figure, I don't know, it's a shadow person, all the time walking in a certain direction. She never could really follow him to a certain point, but she says, she's always told me that when you see, if a spirit lets you see them and they let you follow them, at the end of where they're at, they're supposedly buried treasure.
Yes,
Oh, really?
but depending on what the spirit is wearing.
That too.
Yes, it's depending, because I was told that too.
But like what?
I used to, like when my uncle passed away, Uncle Tony, I dreamed him in other houses, but he never died in those. He died when we were on Checker. And I told my aunt, I said, he's always telling me to go with them. My aunt goes, no, you tell him to leave you alone. Don't go with them, because they tried to take you. They tried to take you. And then he left me alone after I told him like what my aunt said. But there's a lot of stuff going on at the ranch. I would like to do a session there.
Yeah.
And one at my
I've
house.
experienced quite a bit there at the
Yes.
ranch, but I've never did it myself as far as trying to do stuff, because I've always been told it's not good to do stuff by yourself,
That's why we
because
should,
it's like
we should
it's,
go
you're
one
just
day. Make
more
it over there.
vulnerable. I mean, I don't know whether it be whether it be a female or a male.
Yes.
Females are more vulnerable than males, but I just I'm real since I'm a sensitive, like Jerry Ray says.
Yeah.
So I don't really mess with it by myself, even though I have all the equipment. I could if I wanted to, but I would rather prefer doing it with
No,
We get
somebody
knocking.
else.
It makes more sense.
We get knocking at the door. When they knock at the door, we open, nobody
Well,
there.
it's crazy because
Yeah. One
they're
day I was there by myself. And someone knocked at the front door. I opened it, nobody there. Okay, so I walked back. You know how where my living room's to the kitchen. As soon as I got to the kitchen door, they knocked again. So I open it and there's nobody there. I'm like, oh my God, would you just leave me alone? I'm by myself. I'm enjoying my peace and quiet. Leave me alone.
Well, see, and that's
You know,
what they
like-
say to do.
You know, just you have to get that.
When you're getting bothered by a spirit and they just won't leave you alone, because they're trying to get your attention, obviously for a reason. But I've always been told, like, if you really don't want to be bothered, you just straight out forward tell them, you need to leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. You need to quit. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll stop messing with you. But that's what I've been doing.
That's not what I do. I'll be like, get out of here. And the thing about it is, your animals let you know if someone's there.
Oh, most definitely.
Very true.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They do. That my cats, Harvey, they do.
And then Virginia, who do you think that was just there that you saw doing the water? Like,
well, see, I personally don't know. My mom says she's seen that person a few times as well, so she thinks it's probably just a lost soldier that, you know, died in the war, and he was probably just roaming around. But she says that she's seen him occasionally, like on different occasions, and it seemed like that shadow person, she thinks it's a soldier, wants her to follow him or it or whatever, but she's never really, I don't know, she just never followed it.
and then it looked like, again, just like a black mass, just a silhouette?
Yeah, like a silhouette of a
Okay.
person. I personally thought it was my mom's boyfriend, and I was talking to her like normal, like, you know, it's crazy, just like when we were over there in Corpus at the ship, you know, I seen that person. Actually, that wasn't even a shadow person. That was an actual person. Like I told you, I was like a guy wearing the same color as that one man that was, what's his name, Bill?
Bill Miller.
Yeah. Just like Bill, wearing the same color shirt, and he was a white younger gentleman, and I just seen him pass, like, he's probably right around the corner, go and get him. Like, no, nobody's here, it's just us. I'm like, oh my goodness. I really want to debunk that, like, seriously. I wish I was recording that, because, it just makes me upset, because I know what I saw.
And in both of your cases, did those shadow people talk or do anything?
No, they, well, that one was right by the water faucet, like I said.
Yeah.
I thought it was him washing off. I didn't hear the water running, so I figured he was already done. Because when I started talking to him, I was walking, he started, like, moving towards me, but not towards me. Then again, I really wasn't paying attention because I was kind of, like, talking. I was like, I don't want to, you know, if he was washing up, I don't want to look that way kind of thing. I mean, it was pretty dark, so all you could see is just, like they said, the silhouette of a person.
Yeah.
But that was something, though. That really, I, like, ran real quick and jumped on that bed with my mom. It was like, that was the first time ever seeing something like that.
You know,
I've experienced a lot in my years, but to actually see a full-blown shadow person like that, like a whole silhouette, that's never happened.
See, but what gets us there is like they think that, you know, my mother-in-law's grandpa, but at night when everybody's asleep, our TV's off, my in-laws are asleep, everybody's asleep, right there in our room we hear like talking, and we hear a female's voice. There's a lot of times I hear like someone call me and I go, and it sounds like my mother-in-law's voice. I go, did you yell for me? She goes, no. I go, I just heard you. She goes, no, it wasn't me.
Wow.
And there's times at the house, like we can hear footsteps, like someone walking by the hallway, or a lot of times it's from our room that goes to their room. That's where we mostly get the, you know, a lot of stuff. But it doesn't scare us because we're used to it. You know, going on 15 years being there.
Yeah, same.
Like when I go to the ranch and I stay the night out there, I'll go outside and smoke me a cigarette. It doesn't scare us because we're used to it.
Like when
You know?
the swing at one point was rocking by itself,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no wind. The animals were, because sometimes the animals jump on top of the chairs or the swing or whatever, and they were like they were nowhere around that area either. And me and my mom were on the porch watching a show, and she was like, "Hey, look," and I'm like, "Look at what?" And she pointed, and I looked, and that swing was like full blown, just like swinging,
Wow.
like somebody was on it. I was like, holy heck. And she was like, yep. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like so awesome. And she was like, shh, be quiet. And then it just stopped.
Wow.
Like, it just kind of like, it went from fast to like, you know, somebody got up and it's just like, starts slowing down. And then to where it was like, no more. And she was like, why did you do that? I was like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to be quiet. What the heck?
And how long have you been there, Virginia?
Oh, since I was 11.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Alright.
11, 13.
Any last experiences y'all want to share? Anything else? Shadow person, or maybe anything else?
No, I think that. I mean, there's.
I mean,
we can
so
think
much.
about some stuff and bring it up, but
I mean,
we can save all the other stuff for another time.
All
yeah,
right.
we're just chilling. We can talk some more, but maybe we have new experiences at that. Like, you know, at our house, there's always something going on. So
That might be a good place, like y'all said, to go visit and try something out. Maybe not too seriously to make it bad or worse, but at the same time try to get evidence.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was another interview, everyone, with two members of the SCPTRE team, Virginia and Josie. So that was good stuff. If you want, I have some more of those videos from the past where we did more interviews with them. That'll be a good opportunity if you wanted to check them out. I'll include the link for it below. All right, everyone. Talk to you later.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
If y'all, by chance, hear anything in the background, since we are here at the Pioneer Village, just let Fernando know.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we heard something in the background. Just let him know.
Post it in the comments with the timestamp, and then that way that'll alert me and everyone about what y'all heard. So, all right, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.